welcome to another episode of Inspired Women Gathering Show. This is a show that talks about all things from life, relationships, spirituality, business, and everything in between, where we gather together sharing our stories of connection and inspiration, of living into life, experiencing triumph over pain, experiencing the gifts that are meant for us. Women inspire me through their stories, their resilience and resourcefulness, their tenacity, and the powerful movement that we make. I love connecting and having deep conversations, sharing with you the women I'm so blessed to know and who inspire me. My name is Dixie Bennett. I'm your host, and I'm passionate about helping women leaders struggling with overwhelm, pushing hard in their lives and feeling like it's never enough, to healing abundance blocks, living into alignment of their big vision, and realize they can have it all without sacrificing what matters most, and living into the amazing life that is waiting for them. Life doesn't have to be so hard, and it can be easy, flowing, and so rewarding. So I'm so excited today to introduce to you my fabulous next guest, Tara Molina. And our topic today is a change of pace and place. And I'm just going to tell you a little bit about Tara here. So Tara is an uber passionate and energetic real estate agent with a love for real estate and an even bigger love for helping clients reach their full sales potential. With a diverse entrepreneurial background, Tara has worked in a variety of industries, from broadcasting in New York City to owning several successful businesses in Calgary, and with an exceptional background focus in business, psychology, and marketing. Tara has been able to make these fields work together, forming a creative and analytical duo that thrives in the real estate business. Tara's positive attitude and passion for business makes every day an adventure filled with new and exciting opportunities. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks for coming, Tara.
Thanks for having me.
So why don't you so we already know where you're from, so you're in Calgary here.
Yeah.
And you and I have known each other for quite a while.
Many years,
especially
yeah.
for different adventures, so to speak, as well. So why don't you just start off with a little bit about who you are and kind of what brought you to where you are today?
So as my bio mentioned, I've dabbled in a bunch of different things. So a little bit about me. I'm born and raised in Winnipeg, Manitoba. From my roots in Winnipeg, I started off in broadcasting, as well as was at the University of Manitoba in psychology and business. And I had an opportunity to head to the Big Apple in New York, where I furthered my broadcasting and actually developed my love of real estate. I was fortunate enough to work with an interior designer, and I was able to see a bunch of different styles of homes and different design in general. And I just fell in love with real estate at that point. From New York, I was able to move to Calgary, and landing in Calgary, basically I had the ability to start a marketing agency, and that's where we met, Dixie.
Mm-hmm.
And I was the head of the marketing agency for just under 12 years, developing strategy for a variety of different clients and industries. We also started up a publication as well, helping parents choose schools for their kids in the Calgary area. We're known to have many different types of educational programs. So that was a publication we started. And then I saw a need, or basically a gap in the real estate market about 4 years ago. I do own my own rental properties as well, so I'm a landlord. And I just saw a way of doing things a little bit differently that people weren't really doing at that time in the market. So that's when I kickstarted my real estate business, and now I am a full-time realtor. I still have the passion for the marketing and for different businesses, but I'm able to do everything that I love wrapped up in one career now. So I definitely found my calling.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, and that was when I read your bio, I was like, oh yeah, this is so interesting. Broadcasting, business, psychology, and business, or marketing, which are very, very interesting. Marketing is one of my loves as well, and especially sales. And so did you realize that you could blend them all together, or was it kind of an after fact, or did you just naturally start bringing them together?
I've always been a big believer that if you like figure out what you love in life, if you can turn a hobby into your career, then do it. And you're going to wake up every day and truly love what you're doing and be that much better for the people that you're doing it for. And so it was almost like, it was just accumulating. So I started with broadcasting and I loved it and I never wanted to let that go. And then I layered on working in marketing and never had to lose the broadcasting because it was just, I accumulated, it was just a layer. And then with being able to bring that passion with real estate and still not losing anything along the way, it's just, and who knows what's next? Who knows what the layer of the onion is? You know, we still are uncovering layers, but it's bringing, you know, making sure you don't lose anything along the way. If you love it, bring it with you, and maybe it morphs into something else, but get rid of the stuff that doesn't serve you and bring along the stuff that does. So yeah.
I know at one point, well, when I transitioned my career, I was kind of like, oh, I'm going to leave all these things behind. You know, I was thinking like, oh, trade shows, I don't have to do another trade show. Woohoo. You know, and I just, for whatever reason, I had this different idea. And then once I got into my business, it was like, oh, right, I need to market, I need to sell, you know, so I left corporate and then built a healing center. And then, and I think too, sometimes we have to go from one extreme to the other to fully kind of dive in and get the lay of the land and the understanding. And then I found as I got into my business, I started naturally connecting with other business owners. And so we were naturally going back to strategy and naturally going back to sales and marketing because that's where everybody was blocked. And so I thought, oh, this is a really cool opportunity to look at how the body's connected also to you know, sales and marketing, and actually where we're stuck in our thoughts. So that natural blend just kind of started taking shape, and then we get to co-create our own, you know, our own special sauce, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So with and I know watching your videos, like you're a natural.
That's the funny, yeah, that's the funny thing, because people don't realize that I have that skill set or that background. They think I just kind of woke up one day and just decided to start doing videos. Well, that was years and years of training and practice. So and it's fun to do it. It's fun to be out there and doing something different. So
well, I think broadcasting, you know, especially in the world of video, I know that's definitely one area that I've struggled with. This is a huge step for me, and getting out of my comfort zone. I'm usually in behind the scenes, but bringing myself forward is, I love talking on stage, and a lot of people don't. I love, give me a microphone, I'm happy. I love that because I get that immediate feedback of being in front of the audience. Whereas I think on video, like for me on video, I'm like, okay, there's dead space because you can pause from stage and everyone's like reacting and responding, right? And I think it's just for me, I have to bring that mindset back to the camera because it's kind of the same thing. The pause is still really important, right? And just allow that space to happen because I'm sure the listeners or the watchers are kind of leaning in as well. So just bringing those multi-skills to place, there's really no difference. It's just format.
Exactly. When I'm on video, I just pretend that my mom's watching and I'm speaking to her. So like, what would mom want to see?
Well, and our mothers love, like our mothers are our biggest supporters, right? So
yeah.
That's a safe reminder. I like that. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So in your experience, so when you I know that you saw a need in the market of real estate, and you kind of stepped into it, but was there anything going on in your life at that time, or was there this kind of palpable moment or something that helped you realize that maybe that this was something that you should really step into and look at?
Yeah, so I guess it gets right into the topic, a change of pace and a change of place. So I had a really big personal shift about 4 years ago, actually going on closer to 5 years ago. And obviously being in the Calgary area, my ex and we were the ones that started our marketing agency together. So we were very much both involved, and we didn't have anything outside of that. So with growing this wonderful, successful business, I started to realize that I basically looked at everything in my life. I wasn't very happy. Things, you know, I was in a very negative relationship, mentally abusive. It wasn't fulfilling me. It was hurting me. And I found an opportunity. I found the strength to realize I needed to make a change. I have 2 daughters. And while I was pregnant with my youngest, who is going to be 5 very soon, that's when I started to make this change, because I did not want to raise my little girls in an environment where they saw their mom being spoken down to. Because from the outside looking in, a lot of people would always think that I had this perfect life and that I was so strong and I was a role model to a lot of people. But behind closed doors, it was basically living a lie. I wasn't any of those things, and it was putting on a show for everybody else and not living my truth. So I made that decision to leave my husband at that time. But before I did, I knew that I had to plan. So I actually started the real estate course knowing that if I was to separate right now, it wouldn't have been amicable at that time, because we were so intertwined with this marketing agency that there wouldn't be a clean break. So I needed to start something completely new, and real estate saved me. It gave me the opportunity to build something on my own. Obviously, there's people that helped along the way, but being able to be self-sufficient and provide for my children without needing anybody else. I didn't need to worry about receiving anything from my ex or from the business that we built. I walked away from everything and started 100% from scratch, just so that I can ensure that my daughters were raised in an environment that was healthy, and that I knew that I wasn't living a lie. I am their role model. I do speak about positivity and try to help people as best as I can. And so I truly believe in bringing out the best in people. So I needed to look at myself and realize what I needed to do for myself to bring out the best in me. And that was the moment. That was the opportunity. And I sacrificed at first a lot, but I see the light at the end of the tunnel now. And it's all worth it. And everybody, even my ex, my daughters, were all in a much better spot. So it was a big change of place and it was needed.
And how would you say, so how has your life changed now?
So my life has changed.
Well, I guess even just being a mom, being a realtor, and we'll talk a little bit about what's going on in the world in
Yes.
just a minute.
So
a little bit here, but
yeah, being a mom, everything I do is for my little ones. Everything, the decisions I make, I'm very cautious about what the outcome of making some decisions are. Wearing the real estate hat, there's many times that I have been asked to do things that go against my moral being. So I've turned down certain things that maybe I wouldn't have before, because I wasn't as respectful of myself. And I'm really aware of everything that I do, everything I choose to do, even things that I'm posting on social media. It's to bring goodness, I guess. I'm not looking to make anybody feel bad. if they've viewed something and they have, you know, social media depression because of it. Everything that I put out there is because I want to make sure that my girls have that role model. They're proud of their mom, which I know they are, and they know what they know that it's about raising the human spirit and not about taking it down or compromising who you are as a person, and just staying true to yourself.
Mm-hmm. I love all of that. Yeah, and I think sometimes too we get caught up in, well, I know for myself, if it's not in alignment, right, with who I am and my values, I can't participate in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's really difficult, right? And I think that's, you know, we all have governing values that kind of allow us to move forward. And I think too, when we're in alignment with what we are offering, everything comes in. I think at the door just opens, the abundance door, right, is of prosperity, just opens wider and wider and wider the more in alignment we become, and not sacrificing ourselves for others or what's not in alignment with our values,
Exactly.
right? Yeah, that's really powerful, especially with spreading positivity. So from being coming from a place of service, so especially from the marketing industry coming into retail, which still uses marketing, what is how do you what is the service, or how do you want to be of service, besides spreading the positivity, but specifically to real estate? So how are you being of service to the world through real estate?
So I guess I'll go back to why I chose real estate.
Hmm.
Before I was a realtor, I was able to buy and sell, I think it was about 7 properties. We never used the same realtor twice, because there wasn't that memorable experience.
Mm.
And at the last 2 properties we sold, we actually ended up doing the marketing of the properties ourselves, but we needed a way to get on MLS so that we could do all the real estate things without being realtors. But we ended up doing the work ourselves. And the one of the instances was, we put the house up for sale, and the realtor that listed it, the 2 days later brought the buyer, and their buyer made an offer on the house. So that's called double ending, where you represent the seller and you represent the buyer. Typically, you know, maybe that wouldn't be an issue, but the way that it was presented to us just gave us this really negative feeling that the realtor wasn't looking out for our best interest. It was, well, like, I could sell this house and benefit on both sides. And so I just felt really taken advantage of. So not only were we doing the marketing on these properties to help get them sold, but we also felt very disrespected because the person that we hired to be our expert basically ditched us because they wanted to work for the better half of the buyer, and because they knew our bottom line. So it just wasn't a nice feeling. So what I do differently now is I'm transparent, and clients that work with me, they can trust me, and I work for their best interest. Yes, there might be times where I might have a buyer that wants to buy one of my listings, but I do my best to remove myself, and I usually bring in colleagues to take over the buyer so that I can represent my client in their sale. And the reason that's important is that's their biggest investment that they're selling. And typically you learn a lot when you're working with a client that's selling. They might have personal reasons, or there's different reasons. And if I know that information and I'm representing a buyer, it's almost impossible to not bring that knowledge in a compromising way. So at the end of the day, the main service is just truly caring about achieving my clients' goals for their benefit, and doing my best to be whatever they need me to be for them.
Mm-hmm.
And just being transparent and honest obviously with the extra services that I offer, like the marketing, that's an added bonus. But whoever, no matter what industry you're in or what service you're providing, you just want to make sure that whoever is giving the service is doing it for the reasons that you want them to. And my clients hire me because they want somebody in their corner that's going to work hard for them and do it with integrity and honesty. And if you enjoy the person, awesome. And you like chatting with them, great. But just being a good person and doing what's right and doing what you can.
Absolutely. So who would you say is one person who inspired you or helped you along the way?
There was back when I was in, oh gosh, I think it was maybe grade 11. I worked 3 jobs going through high school because I knew I was funding my own university. So I saved up my money and worked. So grade 11 in particular, there was 3 jobs that I did. One was a promotions job, and then I had 2 real retail jobs. And one of the retail jobs I worked, and it was a company called Reitman's. I think it was called Reitman's. Yeah. Anyway, my manager, her name was Jo, and she took a chance. I mean, I was just like young and very green, and she basically took me under her wing and just was the kind, like she just approached everything with such kindness and grace. And I learned a lot of life experience, through her experiences. And she was almost this mother figure or this mentor, the grandma that has the amazing stories. She was all of these amazing women just built into one. And I remember that we were working together for about a year. And then it ended up that the mall that we were working out of was going to be torn down. So we all had to stop working together. So unfortunately that ended our work relationship, but we had a reunion a few months later. And Jo actually showed up to this reunion. There was probably about 12 of us ladies that worked together. And she was really, really, really sick. Really sick. And I never felt, I've never at that point saw so much love and support for somebody in one room. Because everybody, and I just always thought, oh, Jo impacted me and she was this important person, but she was this important person to all of these ladies. And just seeing the love and support for her, knowing how sick she was and just being part of it. I think that was a pivotal moment for me, just to realize how impactful one person can be on so many, and making sure that that impact you have on them. I want to be Jo. Like I want to have that impact on people. And being able to see it at a younger age and realize, wow, like that's the good and that's the positive and the love that she's just being her, but it radiated to all of these women. You can probably have the same effect in a negative way. So you have a choice every day. So why not be that, the more positive approach to it? But yeah, that was a mentor for me. She really brought out this vision of being kind and good and affecting people in a positive way and truly caring about people. So yeah, Jo was for sure the person that added a lot of depth to me at such a young age.
That's powerful. What a gift.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, she's pretty incredible. And unfortunately she did pass away a few months after that. But yeah, I'll always remember her. There's always those people that you remember, like you'll always remember your favorite teacher or but yeah, she just had this amazing aura.
Beautiful. So how do you keep your motivation? So what do you do what's a daily ritual or a daily routine or a sacred practice that you implement to keep yourself motivated every day?
So I go to bed every night talking about what I'm grateful for that day. And that's important. It's so easy to think it's always just the big things like, oh, I'm grateful for having a house to live in. Like, yes, of course, like shelter is important, but it's just the little things that I try to take notice of before I go to bed. So I'll say them out loud. And usually I'll be actually chatting with my best friend, Lonnie, and we text each other at the end of the night, she'll say, what were you grateful for today? And, just to put it out there. But then I also start each morning. So as soon as I open my eyes, I put those, the thoughts, like the good intentions in my head before I even touch my feet onto the ground. I don't look at my phone first thing. I try to avoid it. I'll go downstairs and I'll make coffee and I'll grind the beans and just sit there and like listen to the dripping of the pot and just try to just really be present in that morning moment. And once I have my first sip of coffee, then I'll look at the phone. But just taking that little bit just to set the tone for the day. And then throughout the day, just not, I try not to make the lists. I don't have a ton of lists. I have priorities, absolutely. And I'll always try to achieve one big priority a day. But as long as I can kind of go fluid through my day and not feel like, oh, I didn't do enough. Like sometimes just waking up is enough. Like you can only really do what you're able to do in that day. But yeah, just if I've done one thing and that was part of whatever that intention was that I set for the day, then I'm motivated because I've done it. I'm not trying to do 50,000 things, even though I've done that many days. I do 50,000 things, but I don't discourage myself by over promising to myself and under delivering. I'll over deliver and under promise because I haven't set too much on my plate. So it keeps me, I think that keeps me motivated because it's attainable and I don't set myself up for failure.
Yeah, we've had lots of conversations. I love our conversations.
Yeah.
And I think one thing that I find is, as I've been talking with people, we're all introverts in a way. And so, it's that, I think it's pacing yourself, right? To me, it's about finding the pace. We all have the same amount of time in a day, but it's what you do with that time, right? You can sit and waste it away, or you can actually, actively do things.
Yeah.
But I find for myself, it's more quality pace instead of, just rushing through things to get it off the list, right? And I think there's times and places where we do need to do that. But it is, for me, it's about pace, right? Finding that magical pace.
Yeah, exactly. Some days, if it's a walk, great, but maybe you can do a sprint on other days, and it's doing what you can in that day and not being disappointed with your output, because guess what? You're going to open your eyes tomorrow and it's going to be a whole new day. So it's setting that intention and knowing what you're capable of and doing that and being okay with it.
So that brings me to my next question. So how do you invest in your self-love time or budget?
This is tricky for me because sometimes I'm just like this rock star and I realize like, yes, I'm taking care of me. And that could have been if I was training for a half marathon and taking that time just to go out running with my own thoughts and spending that time with me. But then there's times that you forget about yourself. You forget because you're so busy with, for me, taking care of the kids. And we're a blended family. So there's actually 4 kids, our dog, and then my partner, Trevor. So we have a busy household. And I'm very much wanting everybody around me to always be taken care of. And with that many people in a house, and especially now with everything that we're going through with us having to be home, I do tend to forget that instead of me being priority 1, I might be priority 7 on the list, and I lose that. But I do, for my own self-care, I do a lot of journaling. getting my thoughts down, what made me feel good, what was a bump, do I have to forgive or forget anything? And that's a lot of self-care for me. I'm a words person, so power of affirmations is my love language. And so words matter to me. And even just that, it's very healing, just putting pen to paper and getting it all out there, whatever it is, good, bad, whatever. I do a lot of yoga. I like taking walks by myself and just being with my own thoughts. I'm very much an introvert. So this, you know, it's not even the time, it's just knowing that you are important and you deserve it, because you can make time for anything. Everything deserves time if it does good for you. But if I'm not the best me, then I'm not doing any service to anybody else. But that's easier said than done some days, because people around me I might feel that they need me more than I might need myself that day. But it is important to make sure that you're a priority.
How do you find, like, do you balance, like, I know I have a lot of parents in my circles, and so how do you balance parenthood with being an entrepreneur, right? Self-employed. Any tips or tricks or anything that
and everybody thinks that realtors are 24/7, which absolutely we're not, because no human can be 100% serving all the time. It's impossible. So I do set boundaries. When we have dinner, we put our phones away. Like, I don't have my phone typically around me between 5 and 7 p.m. because that's our family time. If it was a regular environment, but unfortunately it's not really regular these days because we're all at home together. So speaking about right now, with all of the isolation, quarantines, and all of this going on, we still have our work times while the kids are doing their school and activities. And then even though I always have really worked from home, working from home out of my home office isn't a change for me, because I was doing that already. But now it's making that shift so that, okay, this is mom's work time, and then this is my phone downtime. I'm not looking at the computer, and we're playing board games, or we're doing our family activity. But then I also added on that this is our alone time, because we're all going to go crazy if we don't have our times to ourselves. So that's when, okay, kids, go to your rooms, read a book, draw a picture. Like, everybody needs that time to themselves. So it is really managing that very well. And I do try to, let my clients know, hey, if there's been some that have been calling me at 10:30, 11 at night, believe it or not, and just like reminding them, hey, like, I'm happy to help, but I'll get back to you tomorrow if it's not anything pressing. So just having that mutual respect. Beautiful. As well, and being open with your clients that might need that reminder, like, oh, yes, Tara does have a family, and she's at home, and she's not open 24/7. So but for the most part, it's been pretty easy to do that balance. I work with great people.
I love that. Of course. The amazing.
Yeah, I do.
And that brings me to another question. Like, it's around resetting, right? You kind of alluded to it when you worked for Reitman's, and where the mall was being shut down. And I think the world, like the whole entire world, is in a reset state right now.
Yes.
Where things are going to be completely different. Have you had other experiences where, I mean, you shared, the end of your marriage, leaving a business, like, those are huge things. So in each experience of reset, what are some, how did you manage that for yourself, like going through it? And then how did you keep your motivation going for yourself in that experience?
For me, and I've had many reset moments. I mean, I was engaged, before being married. I was engaged 3 times total. Like, I've had a lot of different reset moments. And I think what got me through is my goal was so much bigger than the struggle that it would have taken to achieve that goal. So I guess it's the why, like your why, like what is it? Is it a little y, or is it in capitals? And my reset moments, I had the mentality that I have no choice but to make it through this and come out whatever that goal was at the end of it. And that was my motivation. So having a clear goal, so and no matter if it's personal, business, and mapping it out, knowing, okay, if I need to do this, and I'm doing this because I understand the why, then you just put the pieces together and you align the resources that you need. And just know that you remember why you made that decision, or why you had to do something differently, and just keep seeing how far you're going. I mean, you're not always going to take 10 steps forward. There's going to be days where you take 20 steps back, but you've always taken that first step, and you're never not going to have taken that first step. And that's your why. You just have to keep going in the right direction.
So how is your why? What is your why now?
My why right now, it changed. So every year we start off the year and we write out our vision board, and we do it as a family. And we actually have our sticky notes around our bathroom mirrors of like all of our goals that are short term that we want to achieve maybe this year, and then just future things that we're working towards. Those actually they've changed with all of this going on, because in any instance of change, like you have to adapt to it. And yes, you can try to do things like you were, but right now everybody's having to make some changes, which is totally fine. So I've had to realign some of my goals and my whys. My biggest why right now is just, obviously in the short term, is just navigating what's happening right now, and trying to figure out business wise, what will I need to change to keep doing the business, or what will I need to adapt to. And so I've done a lot of webinars and just a lot of chatting with people just to get different perspectives, because the more information that I have, the better decisions I'm going to be making. And then on the personal side, my biggest why is making sure that my kids and my family are okay. And that's mentally okay, physically okay. Because this, change as an adult, everyone says kids are so resilient, they'll get through anything. But we're all forced to make this big change together. And I don't know how resilient kids are going to be over, an extended period of time if we don't. And I guess right now it's a great opportunity to teach them, things can be scary, things can be exciting, things can be unknown. How do we work together as a unit, and we get through it and have conversations? And so yeah, like my biggest why is just making sure that the family is okay, and that we're getting through this, because we don't know what's going to happen. I mean, in regular life, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but this is a different time. It's a unique time. Hopefully we never have to experience this ever again. But just knowing that if everybody in my house went to bed and they had their questions answered, they felt listened to, they felt loved, they know that they're going to wake up in a safe place tomorrow, then that's what I'm trying to achieve while we're trying to all figure out what's going on.
Right. Yeah. No, I love that. I think that's the most important message, right? How much to know that you're loved, and taken care of, body, mind, and soul. So I'm just curious, do you believe that there's room for spirituality in business? And if so, how does that show up for you?
I do.
Or how do you implement that? Or how do you practice that?
Well, I Well, we've had conversations. It's funny because our best conversations were, and like you live like 2 blocks away from me. I could pretty much see your house right now. Like it's this pull, and it's the connection, and whatever you're feeling. Like for me, it's energy and believing in the energies. And I haven't dug into it as deep as you, and that's why I love talking to you, because I always learn something new. But I think that it's because I'm in tune with myself, and in business, it's knowing how you feel and understanding that this could be, it's what's guiding you to something or pushing you away, and being okay with that. So everyone's like, trust your gut. It's like, well, I'm going to trust all the tingles all over my body that this is a good thing to be at. Or you get that feeling that, no, this is somebody I might not want to work with, or a situation I don't want to be in. And however people interpret that, like there's always room for spirituality in anything, but in business, absolutely. I think it's important to believe in whatever you believe in, and feel whatever you need to feel, and trust that.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Thank you. So do you have a favorite quote or anything that inspires you that you kind of live by?
So my favorite quote was from my grandfather, and he always said, be happy. That's just what he said. Be happy. He was 93 when he passed away. And he was in his 90s still working volunteer at the old folks home. And he was always just like, I'm not this old guy. I'm just, he was just the youngest soul, but he always would say, just be happy. Yeah. And you have a choice. He's absolutely right. He lived every single day of his life with the happy, like he was just happy. Bad things happened all the time. But he didn't let it faze him. And that is by far my favorite quote, because it's so simple, and it's really not hard to do, and we have the choice to do it. So I always say it to my kids, just be happy. Or my own quote that I say, you can do anything you want as long as it doesn't hurt you or anybody else. Just be happy.
Awesome.
I wish it was like more profound, but
it is profound.
Be happy.
Right? And I think sometimes people look for the deeper complex, and it's not about that. It's about simple, right? It's the simple. It's the simplicity, the simpleness, right? Of just being in the happiness, right? Creating your own happiness, dancing your own happiness, right? Eating your own happiness.
Exactly. Whatever it is, just be happy. We have the 1 minute smile challenge. So any of us that were feeling grumpy, we force that family member to smile for 1 minute, and 100% of the time they just forget why they were upset. We laugh. It's just we have a choice. It's like an on or off button. No matter what you're dealing with, there's always something that can help you get out of that. And if it's smiling, or if it's a thought, or writing something down, you have a choice. So why not be happy? Or try your best to be.
Yeah, I think so. I agree with that. I was talking with a girlfriend this morning, and we were talking about, my version is abundance. So I'm always looking for the proof of abundance, or the abundant evidence, I call it. So it's that, even in this time, this time that we're in, which is just so different and so bizarre. I had to go to the store the other day, and I was so, there was a lineup out the door, and I just resigned to it. I had to go get some computer supplies. And I was just like, get to the parking lot, and I see lots of cars, and I'm like, oh, maybe, but I didn't see people. And then I parked and I saw the people. I'm like, oh. And I stood in line, and the guy says, he comes out and he saw me right away, and he's like, do you have repair or sales? I'm like, sales, please. He's like, come on in. So I didn't even have to wait in line. I was just like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And then grocery shopping twice. I've gone grocery shopping in this new world, the new way of shopping.
Yeah.
And the first time, there was no lineup. It was, I just walked right in. It was easy. And I came out and there was a lineup all the way down the side of the building. And I was just like, wow, like I feel so blessed. And then the second time I just went, I was 3 people in the lineup, but it moved through really fast, one in, one out kind of thing. And then when I got in the store, it was just like abundant. I think they must have just gotten their shipment in because they had like flats of food like everywhere. And it was just like, to me, it was just that confirmation. A lot of people are posting about seeing the empty shelves, and I had an experience like that earlier where not all the shelves were empty, but a few, the key ones. But it was so nice to walk into the store, and it was just like from floor to ceiling, like there was piles and bundles of food. And I understand that this, it's a new reality. You don't know what you're going to get, but it is, if you're showing up from a place of lack, you're going to see the lack. But if you're showing up from a place of abundance, you're going to see the abundance. And what my friend shared is, she said, well, I believe I'm always taken care of. And I'm just like, yeah, I love that. Right. We call it different things, but it's just in the trust. You can have a happy exchange or a happy experience, or you can have a desolate, exchange or a desolate experience. And so I think that's really what this time is calling us for, is what do you want to see? And some people are saying, well, is it really a time of manifestation? Like, this is the best time of manifestation, right? Looking at, really looking at where you're in lack. Anyway, that's a whole other topic, but.
Yeah, no, but what your friend said, I mean, going back to when you asked me, like, what's your why, or the pivotal, but I do feel that I'm all like, everything's going to be fine. Like I truly feel that whatever I want to achieve, I'll achieve it. Like there's no question. It's just, and it's giving it that attention that it deserves. So walking into the store, it was the toilet paper thing. Like, oh yeah, there's no toilet paper, like nothing. Well, Trevor and I go into the store and there's like a whole shelf like of it. So I wasn't expecting not to see it. I'm just like, well, we need it, just because we actually did, not because we were hoarding anything, but and it's there. So just like little things, like I have the expectation that everything is going to be fine, and it's going to work out the way that I want it to work out. And it's kind of been like that my whole life. And that's why I've been able to get through those moments of resetting and changing pace or changing place, because I truly believe with every ounce of my being that the outcome is going to be better and for the best, and what I want, and something that's going to benefit me and the people that I care about.
Well, and I think it's just keep going too. I'm seeing a lot of people just stopping, and they're stopping everything, as opposed to, I love the pace. I love the word pace, right? Because even when you're running a marathon, and I used to teach in the running room, and I used to teach a lot of the work with we used to do a lot of the races, and you always had a pace person, right? You always have somebody to keep the pace, to keep the group moving. You're always going to have the fast ones, right? And then you're always going to have the laggers. Like, you're always going to have different people in between, but that pacer is there. Just, it's a nice, easy keeping the pace. And it's not using too much energy, and it's not using not enough energy.
You found your stride, and you're able to get from point A to point B at that stride.
Or even cadence. I love the word cadence. Right? It's just that cadence is just that nice, easy. You're not pushing to get going, right? You're not pushing. You need to push at the end. Sometimes we need to push, right, to get through. But for the majority of the part, it's really important to find your stride, keep it, match it, and just keep moving one step at a time.
Exactly.
Cool. So thank you. Any other advice or anything else to wrap up on?
The main thing is, and I'm putting on my mom hat here at the end, because I'm part of a lot of different mom groups online. I'm part of a lot of business groups, but because we're in the family home, like we're everybody's at home now, and so for the mompreneurs, I can't even say that word, mompreneurs.
Yeah.
out there. All you can do is the best you can and be okay with it. You
Mm-hmm.
might be the teacher now because schools, you're taking over that hat. You're still bringing home you're responsible for financials. Maybe you're
Workforce,
the
small
domestic
business.
goddess, you're the cook, and you're the
Mm-hmm.
cleaner. Whatever hat you're wearing, now you're wearing all of them simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
Don't don't overwhelm yourself, and just do the best you can and be okay with it, because tomorrow is another day.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as everybody is fed and they are going to bed and everybody's safe and healthy and happy, then you did an amazing job. So don't be too hard on yourself.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Beautiful words. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
So thank you. Thank you everyone for watching and being with us today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please share it out with your community so that you can continue to bring light, love, and hope to the world. Thank you for tuning in. Bye for now.